Aloha all. This is my 14th episode of Unconventional Insights. We are in the time of Libra, so I am doing things having to do with relationships the next few weeks, my specialty. And this is called Communication is a Key Relating Skill. So, those of you that have heard my podcasts kind of know where I come from, that the question is, what is your greatest relationship in your life? As you're all there thinking, I'm hoping the answer is to yourself first. If you say to God or Spirit or any of that, all that works, all that applies, as long as your human self is very much the factor. So, when that is in alignment, all other relationships have a chance of succeeding in a harmonious way. I will share that I was born during the time of Libra, so God had something up its sleeve by saying, I'm going to be cursed by looking in terms of relationship my whole life. I've talked to many of my friends that are Libras, wishing them happy birthday already. And I would say that when I was younger, I thought everything was about relationship, that it was all about the other person, to such an extreme that I became the authority and the expert that I am, probably by doing everything wrong initially, by seeing when you're out of balance what happens, and then learning how to do it correctly. So, usually we need to find what is our balance in reference to anyone, any person, any circumstance. And when we could find that, that becomes our key. So looking at Libra, a little astrology here, it has the symbol of the scales. And that scales represents balance, justice, equality. Libra also so this isn't just people born during this month. This is like everybody feels this during this time of year. This is kind of the focus on relationship, on equality, on things like that. Also, Libra brings in the gifts of aesthetically pleasing in vision, in how they dress and how they cook and how they speak. Also, they're artists. So I know Sting is a Libra. I know Gandhi was a Libra. These are two people. I know John Lennon is a Libra. He's born on my birthday. These are people very gifted with their words that have affected many people in a positive way. So for me, I've been a teacher my whole life. I've been a counselor. I am a writer. I use my words. And I try to always find what is the most appropriate, specific word for what I'm trying to communicate, since communication is what we're focusing on right now. So in looking at relationships, if you're not in a partnership or you're in a new partnership or an existing partnership, and really take this moment to do this little visual. So if we see that little Libra scale, and you're on one side of the scale, and whoever your significant other, your child, your parent, your roommate, whoever the relationship you want to look at and see them on the other side of the scale, is it balanced? And how we're looking at that balance is, where is most of your energy focused on? Is it focused on yourself in reference to them? Is it focused on them exclusively? And this is the key. So again, when I was younger, my issue was always in relating to the other person that I refused to accept, or I didn't know better, to accept me as one of the elements. So as I was adapting to their needs, and this is very common with men and women to do this, is where we look to see the other person's needs and we forget, well, how do I feel about this? And then we get to a point of our generosity, our open-heartedness, and then suddenly we snap. where we're either hurt or we're angry or somehow we shut down or we pull back because we say, this is out of balance. This isn't feeling good anymore. And again, the other person didn't do anything. They've been consistently themselves. It's just our nature has been to just adapt. What do they want? And then we notice, wait a minute, they're not asking, what do we want? So if you are the one caring for yourself, being concerned with your daily self-care needs, making certain your needs are getting met in a fair and balanced way in reference to whoever you're thinking about, then you won't have this crisis of this, I want out, or this isn't making me happy, or some like grand drama that happens with the person and they're a little shocked because they had no idea this was going on. So that's important to know how the other person is perceiving you when you actually do act out, instead of just being upfront and honest and saying, can I decide where we go eat today? Or let them be in charge of planning something, or you plan something because they always have to do it, or something. Just see what the roles are and see how you'd like to experiment with that scale being a little more on the other side so you could find that balance. So now, looking at other issues, if we're not placing our needs on ourselves, so this is taking full responsibility. The Buddhists say place all blame in one spot. That means own everything. It doesn't mean not to acknowledge that someone is doing something inappropriate or great. We do acknowledge another person, but if we take full responsibility initially, meaning for getting our needs met and everything, and the attention that I need, I am responsible for that. I know how much attention I need. I know how much nourishment I need. I know when I need exercise, when I want rest, when I want personal space, when I want to snuggle. I know all those things. So, but many people may know those things, but they don't verbally communicate them. And then they act out. So, underneath this more passive-aggressive or lack of communication, we have feelings, lots of feelings. We have emotions and thoughts that are mixed negatively with these emotions. And there are feelings of failure, of loneliness, health issues, material security. All of those main key factors are spinning in our head, consciously or unconsciously. And it's for us to take time to meditate, to calm our mind, to notice if a tape is running within us, so that we don't have conflict with another person and end up projecting it on them. So whoever your primary person is in your life, they're your primary mirror, which means when something is not right within yourself, it is highly likely that the conflict, that the aversion, that the discontent will come out through your relationship with that primary person. So if we could be a little more conscious or aware of our own needs and what is happening as they arise, as something new comes up that might not be comfortable, or something that I need time to digest and to address more. Even if you learn to say to the person, I'm off today, or I'm not feeling so good, or I'm not certain what's going on, and I need a little time to myself, because I believe if we interact today, it can be explosive. It can arise in conflict. And I don't want it to arise in conflict. Hopefully, we don't want that. Hopefully, we want to be as kind as we possibly can. And we all are human, and we all fall from our highest aspirations, our highest qualities. And when we are not our best selves, and we say, I thought that I've resolved this issue, yet here it is again, we tend to beat ourselves up because I thought I got that pattern. I thought I got that issue. I thought I never did that behavior. And then here it is again. I'll continually say to myself, I'm listening, and to others, that when an issue comes up, even an old issue that hasn't been brought up for a long time, when that issue comes up, we're here to review it. And that review is a good thing. It shouldn't be something we beat ourselves up about. It comes back because there is something about that issue that we weren't able to see before. And I don't know if I've given this example, this little revelation I had. I've had many dreams and insights from God, my guides throughout my life. And this was a profound dream I had I think I was in my 20s. It was definitely before my daughter was born. And I love this. I've given this in teaching in classes before. And in this dream, being the thoroughbred Italian that I am, I don't remember what the dream was about, but I was very much aware, because I'm very tuned into my dreams, that I got so emotionally caught up in this dream. And in this dream, it was as if my guides froze the screen. So it was as if it was a big movie theater, and the dream itself stopped, and they put these 12 panes of glass over. So that was these long vertical planes of glass that separated 12 different perspectives of this screen, of this dream. And basically they were saying to me, look at this situation that a moment ago, my stomach, my heart, everything was so engaged with, I was so emotionally caught up in, and look to see how each of those perspectives, those 12 perspectives, shows me a different way to look at that. And until we get all 12 of those perspectives, we will continue to review this throughout our life. The same pattern will continue to happen. So that pain lives within us, that trauma, that wound, and we will continue stimulating it and allowing it to arise again, sometimes with the same person, sometimes with a different person, maybe because we've cultivated more skills in our life currently, so it comes up again because it's our being saying, we can handle this now, let's look at this again. And remembering that we have to review it and just say to yourself, what haven't I seen about this before? Even if it's when you get into a relationship with different people and it's the same pattern with a different face. That's my favorite comment to clients, is how many times do you, because I did that when I was younger, again, different face, same man. And again, the only common element was me. So it's what I needed to learn. It's what I drew to me, what I was attracting to me that I needed to actually get and resolve. Because looking at relationship and looking at that scale, the whole point of relationship between two people is, where do you meet on that scale? Do you meet in the center? Is it equal? Is it balanced? Or does one person come further to the side than the other? Does one cross that center line way over where there's very little room for the other person to express or be seen or have their needs met? And again, are you that person that crosses the line in a relationship where it's all about you and your needs and your wants and what you want to eat, what you want to do, the timing you want to hang out? Is it all about you? And that person has this tiny little space trying to breathe and say, I'm here, I have needs. Because I'm not saying that if you're the one that crosses the line, that you're the one at fault. I'm saying both players in this relationship dynamic are responsible. So the person that has this tiny little space, and they tend to draw in people that are aggressive, controlling, assertive, dominant in their needs, that person needs to say, not why do I keep drawing controlling people in, but to look to say, why am I not standing strong in my needs? Why am I not speaking up more about this is what I want, this is what I like, this is what I want to eat, this is where I want to go, this is how I want to spend time, and practicing to use that tool of communication. And it usually starts with a soft voice, almost a whisper. And eventually we get strong and we have that authority in our voice and we are caring for ourselves. And this matters when you have that authority. For myself, I became way stronger for my personal needs after I gave birth to my daughter, because I looked in terms of her. So again, she helped me cultivate myself. Because she was with me all the time, I'm like, this is not appropriate behavior around her. This is how she has to eat. It's nap time. We're going to play. And I was always an element with her. So I grew up and learned self-care tools by caring for her. My challenge was when she was old enough to move out, then I had to see, wait a minute, this is the first time I'm doing it for myself. It's not the first time, but it's totally owning 100%. I'm going to do all of these things. I don't like that person's behavior. I don't want to be in an environment like this. This is how I like to live. And just owning that, which I have, and I love it. And I've never been happier than it. I've never been happier in my life than I am in the last few years of my life. So the more that I do my daily needs, my meditation, my French, my writing, my working out, my eating well, my socializing with friends, my hanging out with the dogs and being in my backyard with the birds and squirrels and all, the happier, and it's just so much appreciation. So back to this communication and these relationship skills. So also, in learning a pattern, I have found this a long time ago in teaching classes and counseling and various things, talking about how we review issues that keep arising when we think it's already been resolved. So this is how we actually get a pattern. There's 3 parts to all patterns. We must learn to do the behavior. We must learn to be the recipient of that behavior, and we must learn to witness the behavior. As an example, if anger is a part of your life, you will at some point, maybe as a child you had angry people in your life, one of your parents yelled all the time or was pretty aggressive, so that was you receiving the behavior. They would yell at you. You know what that feels like to have anger. Then as you start to mature, unfortunately, even though we think this isn't going to happen, you start to exhibit that behavior, and you are the one that starts yelling and being aggressive. And then when you see that, you will actually have someone close to you or near you that you care about enough that you see they are in a relationship or a pattern with somebody raging or yelling or angry. And you are just watching that. So you're not either player. You're not the victim, you're not the perpetrator, you're the witness. And you're seeing both sides of that, how both don't feel good. It doesn't feel good to be angry. It doesn't feel good to have someone angry at you. And it doesn't feel good to even watch someone you care about going through that. So, 3 parts. As I had my classes, my esthetician and massage schools, I always teach students. In the workshops I still teach now. Every way that I teach someone is I show them the behavior, I show them what I'm teaching them, so there's a demo, and then they give and receive a treatment. Everybody knows what's happening at that point. So they're watching a treatment, They receive a treatment, they give a treatment. Every student I've ever taught in any workshop has been very successful because those three dynamics are very important. It is hard to just do an online class where you're listening and there's no interactive. You can still regain that knowledge, and some things could only be done that way, but when it comes to something hands-on and practical, you need to give and receive. And I've had students say, oh no, I don't want this treatment, and I say, you're getting the treatment, because how else will you explain to a client how that feels? It's same with the cleanses and the total care, the total client renovation packages that I do one-on-one. That is, they have to go through this 30-day process. And I have a client going through it now. And I told her, as you are struggling the first couple days of the cleanse, where there's no caffeine, no alcohol, no sugar, no bread, no any of that stuff, I want you to write it all down. I want you to write down where your mind is, where your emotions are, how your body's feeling, so that you can explain when clients say this, and around this day, this is what might happen. And then I felt so much better the next day. So you have to be the cheerleader. You have to memorize all these things, and you learn by doing. Okay, where else are we? So one thing, this is in relationship. I was talking with a friend of mine, and we were talking about things in regards to relationships. And one of the questions is a big thing that's trending a lot now is when this issue of if you're in a partnership, a long-term partnership, and when you met, everyone was healthy and happy, and then your partner starts to let go of themselves. So physically, emotionally, they're just like eating whatever, they're not exercising, like they're no longer the person you thought they were. The question was, do you have a right to bring it up to your partner? I would say 100% when you're in a relationship, you have a right to bring up anything. This is my belief. You could bring up anything. It is just how and when you bring it up. So to be critical and bring it up and say you're a fat slob, or I'm not attracted to you anymore, or we're never going to have sex again because you look like that, all of that is not okay. And it's not fair either. You're not going to get anywhere. But if you say, hun, can we talk about this? I'm concerned for your health. I'm concerned that maybe you're not so happy right now. Can we do something together? Can we do a yoga class together? Can we do this little diet thing together where we cook our own meals? Like, come up with some way to engage where there's a connection with the two of you, where you're doing it together, where your partner has some support and motivation to want to stay healthy and engaged. And the other thing, my answer also was, that's one of my things when I get involved in a relationship or with friendship, is I want to make certain, because I learned this being in the healing arts my whole life, over 30 years, is in the past I would draw friends or relationships to me that were a physical, mental, emotional mess on some level. And the healer in me would start to address and balance and suggest and help them. And then I found I was exhausted because I was bringing my work home. Then I realized, wait a minute, I don't want this. If a person is that way and they come to me as a client, then they can pay me and I will help them. But I do not want to live with this person. I don't want this as a partner. I don't want this as a best friend. I don't want this as a roommate. I want to make certain that someone that I'm interacting with, that's one of my mirrors, one of my reflections, that they know how to care for themselves, like consistently, not just recently. And this is another thing. A tendency is when you get out of a relationship, regardless if it was short-term or long-term, you go through a little bit of grieving transition time. And then the next step is one of my favorite steps, because you're in this open, expansive time where you're like exercising, you're eating healthy, you have more energy than ever, you feel totally rejuvenated and renewed. You'll do things you normally don't do. I'm going to go bungee jumping. I'm going to do things that I would often say no to, and you're just more expansive and ready to go beyond your known little box. So if you meet someone and they're in that stage and you find out that that's not their norm, just know that that little block of time is going to exhaust itself. It is going to close at some point, and they're going to revert back to their nature. So find someone that's been, if this matters to you, that's been caring for themselves. They don't have to be a master. They don't have to be perfect, but that knows how to care for themselves, and you two support each other. You two become a power couple where you're helping each other with diet. You're helping each other succeed in your career. You have projects where you're doing individually, where the other person's motivating you and saying, good for you, hon, you're doing great, and where you're doing as a couple. And you keep doing these little things. It's all about relating. It's all about how do you connect. And any type of attention in partnership, as long as it's for the good of yourself, for the partnership, for the planet, is a beautiful thing. That is the reason for partnership, is there's relating going on, there's communication going on, there's a common vision going on, and it's beautiful. So, there you go. Now I will talk about some of my workshops coming up. So in October in Austin, South Austin, I have advanced esthetician certifications. I have microdermabrasion and oxygen facial on October 14th. I have dermaplaning October 21st and microneedling, nanoneedling October 28th. I moved that one from the 7th because I had requests. And then in Haiku Maui on January 13th, I'm teaching microneedling and nanoneedling. I'm very, very excited about that. And that's from 10 to 3. So anyone interested in that, you can contact me. And also, so my next big workshop is Be a Relationship Architect Intensive, and that is with David Garrison. That is November 16th and 17th. We moved that from 4 Tuesdays to a weekend intensive, which is very exciting. So it's the same amount of hours, but we're just like force feeding. We are going to transform, all of us. It's going to be heaven. We are making so much time to make this perfect. I love this. So that is going to be from 10 to 5. That's $400. And anyone who signs up before October 16th, it's only $350. You get an early bird special. We're only taking 12 signups. And again, that is in South Austin also. So I'm also doing a meetup once a month for Be a Relationship Architect. We had one last month. I loved it. And we have our next one is next Tuesday, which is October 8th, and it's from 6:45 to 8:45, and we're going to go over love languages, which I'm excited about. And then the other meetup is on November 5th, and I'm not certain of the topic yet. I want to see what's going on with this group and kind of what everyone's needs are, and then we will design something fun and interactive and informational for you. So that's exciting. I also want to bring up that I do insight counseling. So my counseling, and I do most of it virtually over online. You could come in person if you are in Austin, and I charge $100 a session for a 1-hour session, or you could buy 2 sessions for $150, and you could separate that over 2 different times. And I am doing the certification for anyone in the healthcare field. So if you are a life coach, if you are a nurse, if you are an esthetician, a massage therapist, if you are a personal trainer, if you are any of that, I have taught this for so many years, and I am now doing it one-on-one, concierge. You could do it online, and I will put you through my specific dietary changes for 30 days. And every week, the same day, every week for an hour and a half to 2 hours. We'll do FaceTime, Messenger, Skype, something where I'll do some instruction. We're going to do some guided meditations together, a little bit of movement, and we're going to check in, and I'm going to be available through texting as a daily cheerleader to get you through this. And at the end, you will get your total client renovation certification, and you will help many on the planet, and I am so grateful for that. And that is $500 right now, and that price is going up to $1,000 in January because you are getting one-on-one time with me. During that 30 days from the first day that we have our session, any private sessions, if you need a 1-hour session, is only $50, so you do get a discount during that time. And that is it. So my contact information is samana@spaluna.com, or you could text me or call 808-283-7587. If I don't recognize your phone number, just text and I will call you back. And I've enjoyed our time together. Happy Libra, happy relationship time. I hope this benefited you and you enjoyed all of the new insights.